integumentary system has two parts, right? The dermis and the epidermis. We all know that. That's nothing new to us, right? So this cell's name is intracellular bridges, which is pertinent to our conversation. So we're looking at the skin, right? Epidermis and dermis. We're going to look at the epidermis. Everybody knows what the epidermis is? What's it called again? Stratified squamous keratinized epithelium, right? We did this lab 2 or something, right? Maybe lab 3, but still. Hell, it might have been, yeah, I think it was lab 2. Anyway, so now we're going to talk about the different sublayers of the epidermal region, right? All right, so, I'm not catching it. Let's zoom in on this and take a look at it. So we're going to start here at the inside. And if you look right in here, you can see several layers. Let's start at the bottom. Right? Let's start here. This layer here, you can easily see that this layer is different than the others, right? So this is the dermis, this is the first layer of the epidermis, and we know what that layer is called, right? What's it called? Stratum basale, the basal layer, the bottom layer, right? The other term for it is stratum germinativum. That one's much harder to say, right? The germinal layer is what that means, right? So all of your epidermis is derived from this layer, all of it. So this is one of the fastest dividing cells in your body. What are you seeing here? Are these all germinal cells? Is that on this slide or the next slide? Hold on. We'll talk about it here. That's fine. So are those all? Is this? It's only about 1 or 2 cell layers thick. It's not very thick. Most of the time it's 1, but there's sometimes it's 2. There's a lot of cells that are germinal cells there, but are there any others? What are you seeing here? Why does it look, what color is it? Is it the same color as this? No, right? Why not? Pigment granules. So this is the spot where the pigment granules are put into the cells. And then as these cells divide, those pigment granules, some of those go into these cells, but the vast majority of them stay there. Same thing with tattoos, right? Same thing, they put the ink into this layer, and then as it divides, it goes into the rest of the skin. All right, second layer, stratum spinosum, this layer here, right? Spiny layer, and it's named the spiny layer for, if you look around the edges of the cell, you can see the little white ring, but in that white ring, there's little hatch marks, right? That's where the spines that they're talking about, little hatch marks. Those hatch marks are intercellular bridges. One of the things that make your skin watertight. So, the intercellular bridges occur in the stratum spinosum, right? The next layer up, and this one is not quite as clear as in others. See, because it looks like it goes straight from stratum spinosum to the cornified layer. So what aren't you seeing very well? You don't see the granulosum or the lucidum very well. So in order to see those, you almost have to go to a different slide, and I'll go to a different slide. To a slide that you've probably seen before. Same tissue, a little different view, right? what was the difference between the last one and this one?
That's some sort of top layer.
Thicker, right? So this is thick skin. The last one probably wasn't, right? All right. So let's look at those other layers. I'm going to go into the same magnification here so we can see it very closely. All right. So stratum spinosum is here. This is actually stratum basale here. Stratum spinosum. Then you can see this layer, right? This darkly pigmented layer here, right? Granulosum, the grainy layer, right? And then this weird kind of, this layer here that looks, you see a lot of white, but what is the white that you're seeing here?
Space.
Gaps. It's breaking here when you're doing this, right? So the lucidum layer is actually this kind of red layer here. And then of course your stratified, your cornified layer up there, stratum corneum up there, right? So those are your 5 sub-layers of the epithelial layer. Epidermal layer. No questions? Pretty straightforward, right? Specialized cells, you've seen a lot of these, right? So let's look here. There are melanocytes in the stratum basale. Do you have a question? What did I hear? I didn't hear anything. Just the voices in my head going crazy. All right. For example, if we look right there. If you look there, what do you see? The stratum basale here, right? Follow this around. What are you seeing? Do any of those cells look different than the others? It's a Sesame Street, right? One of these things do not look like the other, right?
Yeah.
Which one? The purple thing? Yeah, because there's no purple on this field of view.
Pink.
How about this one? I have tape up here. What's different about it? In histology, color doesn't matter. I'm going to say that again. Because you can use different stains to stain things different colors.
It's big.
Shape is everything, right?
Circular.
What's different about that shape?
Circular.
It's bigger, rounder, right? So what do you think that is? What's number 3 on picture 2? Ah, how about that? I've already shown you the intercellular bridges, right?
I don't know.
In these little white rings around these cells in the stratum spinosum, right? There's these little hatch marks in there. Those are the intercellular bridges, right? Let's see, 1, 2, 3. I've done 1, 2, and 3, right? 4, basement membrane. What is the basement membrane? Basement membrane is what connects the epidermis to the dermis, right? So if you look right here, you can see a kind of a dark blue line right there, right? That is your basement membrane. And of course, the germinal epithelium is easy, right? The only thing we haven't looked at is number 1, right? Mm-hmm. And I've shown you that before, though, right? Haven't I? Meissner's corpuscle, yes? It's in these dermal papillae. Let's see if we can find a decent one real quick. They're big. Hold on, let me go down. All right. Now we're on a fairly low power. Should be able to see it easily once we see one, right? Let's see, is there one in here? Anybody see one yet?
I think so.
Oh, wait a minute, there's a good one. Can you see both those? No. Is it out of focus? You think? What about that one?
Yeah.
Everybody see it? Here? When we move down, there's another one I saw. How about that one? Is it out of the field of view? How about now? Here? There's one here too, not that you can see it very well. There's a little in there. You're just seeing a piece of it though. Is there a really good one here? Hold on, let me scan real quick. There's one there, right? Anybody see that one? There's one. Well, I like that one. How's that one look?
Blurry.
Blurry? This one?
Where are those cells within the Meissner's corpuscle? The purple histone ones.
What do you think they are?
Probably bits of the basement memory, or bits
Well, one of the things we're not doing in this class is we're not talking about the histological structure of that structure itself, right? So how does this pressure receptor work? Meissner's corpuscle, it's a pressure receptor, right? Technically, it's a 2-point discrimination point receptor, but still, it's a very tightly zoned pressure receptor. So how does it work? Well, how it works is based on its components, but it's a touch receptor, right? Think of it, you always think of your fingertips. I always think of my fingertips when I do it, right? You have other ones as well, but those are the ones I always think of, right? So if you touch the table, everybody touch the table, right? Just don't slam your hand in the table, just touch it, right? And then now press. You can tell the difference, right? How do you do that? How do you know the difference between a light press and a heavy press, right?
Maybe you have deeper sensory things deeper in like your skin.
It has to do with the structure of these things, right? What they are is it's not one thing, right? It's multiple different things stacked like a stack of coins, right? And so if you press, it's going to compress the top ones, and the harder you press, it'll press more of them, right? And anytime you press them, that's a mechanoreceptor that sends an impulse off to your nervous system, right? So you have several different little packets, subunits, that can be compressed sequentially for more and more pressure. There is a limit to how much pressure you can perceive though, right? That make sense? So what he's asking about is what those cells are. Well, each one of those structures has a nucleus, right? Not only that, but also you have to compartmentalize it again, right? So you have to have a bag around the outside along with a nerve that comes out of the bottom of it, right? So there are lots of different cells associated with this structure. But most of those are the cells of those individual packets.
Gotcha. Thank you.
It's a good thing to know. It's where am I? Let's see. Did I finish 2? Yes, right? All right. So while we're talking about this, we can do the dermis part number 1, right? That's easy enough. The dermis part number 1. So the epidermis is this where it's up, right? The dermis is this part down, right? Let me go down one more. We're going to go down to a lower magnification. So if you look at this part here, right? you can actually see that there's kind of two different regions, right? Everybody see that? No? If you look right about here, there's a change in the consistency of the material between here and here, right? So the two parts of the dermis are very easy, right? And that's not what that's asking, but that's all right. Where's that part? That's on number 2, by the way. I'm talking about what's on slide number 2. This one, right? Slide 2 of the dermis, right? I'm talking about the two different layers of the dermis, right? You have what's called the papillary layer, the hilly layer. I wonder where the hilly layer is. Where the dermal papillae are, I bet, right? And then the reticular layer, which is this other layer down here, right? So now let's go back to 1 here. So what they're talking about in number 1 is this interdigitation of the skin and the papillae. We talked about this in lecture already. And this is what gives you that gripping ability, right? And so, very simply, let me zoom in just a little bit so you can see a little bit better. So, dermal papillae, epidermal ridges, right? Dermal papillae go up into there, and epidermal ridges come down into here, right? Easy peasy, right? All right. Specialized structures, we got to go down a little bit to see them, right? And again, you've seen all these before. This is nothing new, right? We've done this many times. You just didn't know what you were looking at, what overall tissue you were looking at before when we were talking about these specialized structures, right? So what's first? Sweat gland. Where's the sweat gland? Anybody see a sweat gland? Sure, right? Where? How many sweat glands do we see? A lot, right? I agree, a lot. There's at least 4 there. Here's one, here's one, here's one, there's one. That's kind of one. There's lots of them, right? How about if we move it over here? How about this? How about this? How about this one? See any sweat glands over here? There might be a couple here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. A lot, right? What else do you see here? What's number 2?
Adipose.
Adipose. Okay. Any adipose?
Mm-hmm.
Just a bit, right? Like all over the place, right? All right. Now we're going to get harder, right? Nerve plexus. This gets harder, right? Do you see any nerve plexi?
Yeah, there's one to the right of that artery.
I see, hold on, let me look real quick. I see 1, 2, 3. I see at least 3, there might be more. Where are they? Anybody? Somebody make a guess. How about my late people? Let's pick on them. Number 1?
No idea.
No idea.
Um,
That's why it's called a guess.
what am I guessing for again?
Did I?
Yeah, what? Wait, okay. The top right.
Where?
Well, I mean, if you like to point.
Further up, down, lower, left, right, in?
Up. Sure. No. The tiny one.
What?
The tiny one.
Back up where
The
you were.
tiny one.
Yeah,
Here? No?
sure.
Where?
No, go back. Yeah, no. Okay, never mind.
This thing?
No.
What are you talking about? That?
Mm-hmm. Sure, that'll work. That's what it
I don't think I ever got to where she wanted me to be.
is. You did, but then you moved.
It's always the case. Where's my number 2? You agree with her?
I was late.
Can you go
it back.
Did you finish your drink? Okay.
Can you put it back where you have it?
She's like, be salty. Go ahead. Where? Did you agree with her or no? I don't even know where she was pointing at, so it doesn't really matter.
Sure.
Where do you think?
I agree with her.
Wherever that is.
You had it on there, but then you moved.
This one? No.
No,
This one?
no,
This one?
yep,
Yes?
yes. I agree.
You agree? Number 3?
I think that I'm not sure about that one. I think it might be one directly to the right of the artery.
This one?
Yes, that's what I think it is.
Number 4?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. You know what?
You not know your number?
Yeah, I'm going with that one too.
All right, let's take a look. Let's zoom in on them, take a look, closer look, see if we can figure out why they think those are them, right? So I'm gonna zoom in quite a bit here. We'll start with the last one. All right, so can you see all those? Kind of, all right. Darn it, okay. So what about this thing? That's the first one that they said. How many people would agree that that looks like a nerve and why? Go ahead.
So what?
Yeah.
So I was PNS, so sounds like Schmaltz's PNS.
So what, other than a nerves bundle, what could it be? What's the only other options that we have in this region of the body that it could be instead of a nerve bundle?
Blood vessel.
It would have to be part of the sweat gland, right? Does it look like part of the sweat gland? Let me go to the sweat gland real quick. Let's go look at a sweat gland over here. Let's see. How about this one? So here, sweat gland, sweat duct, right? So it looks kind of like a sweat gland, right? Is it a sweat gland?
No.
Okay. Remember how this cuts, right? So look at how these are shaped here, right? Now let's go back down to the sweat gland. And look how these are shaped. And if you cut this a little higher up on that ball-shaped structure, or cut it near the end of the tube or whatever, you wouldn't get that central area there. And what would the rest of it look like? Look exactly like that, right? So, what's the answer? Not a nerve plexus, right? All right, let's go to the other one. Let's go to this one up here, which is this one. This one. So here's the sweat gland right by it, real easy to see. There's a sweat gland there, and this. So what do you think? Do these structures in here look like those structures? And the answer is no, they don't. That is she's very right. Even though she's a pain in my ass, she's very good, right? All right. And I'll put up with a lot if you're good, right? All right. Did you take a good picture?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's all about shape again. We're back to shape, right? These are nice rounded, got central nuclei, right? What does this look? It's not rounded, right? It's more like linear, right? Nerve plexi are kind of all smished. They're not, the cells aren't rounded at all in a nerve plexus. They're kind of compressed. Okay? Does that help at all? Let me go see another one. Hold on. See if I can find a bigger one. Here, how about this one? This one's got a little different shape. How about that one? Much easier to see on that one, right? So here's a sweat gland, there's the nerve, right? Easier to see, right? This is actually really nice. I got a sweat gland, you got a nerve plexus, and you got a blood vessel. You can probably tell me what kind of blood vessel that is, right?
Artery.
Artery. Why? Simple answer is round, right? All right. Vein. Let's talk about a vein, right? That's next, right? Vein. Do we see a vein anywhere? I wonder. Do we see a vein anywhere?
Those.
What is that? What are these little red things?
Erythrocytes.
Erythrocytes. I wonder where they occur. Blood vessels, right? Is it round? Nope. Ah, it must be a vein, right? Piece of cake, right? All right. What else? Smooth muscle. Smooth muscle. There's smooth muscle in the skin? What
Yes.
color is muscle stain?
Red.
Red. Let me go down. Let's go down the low part. See any red?
No. Well, yes, but no.
Let me go up one part. We'll play with this till we can see what we need to see. Now do you see any red?
To the left.
Like here, there's a little bit, there's a little bit, there's a little bit, there's a little bit. Smooth muscle. It's not in big bundles, it's kind of dispersed. And notice it goes in all different directions, right? That's why it's irregularly arranged dense connective tissue. Right? Is that a what?
That darker blue.
The darker blue.
Go up.
What are you talking about?
Like yeah. Up.
That?
No, go down. Up a little.
I don't know where you're.
It's like it's relatively big.
Here? What are you talking about?
In the muscle.
In the muscle.
It's right to the left of the
That?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
I wanted to know because it looked weird.
I can't. That thing.
Is that a nerve?
I don't know. If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably an artifact from staining. It doesn't look natural to me. So I don't know the answer. That's just my guess. All right. But notice that the smooth muscle, here you can see it, the pink, is kind of mixed in with the blue, right? So some of that's muscle, some of that's connective tissue, right? They're all connected together and not regularly arranged at all. All right, is that it for 3? Let's go to 4, right? Oh, we're gonna go to hairs, okay. Hair follicles. All right. Guess what the slide's called? Hair follicles. I know, it's shocking. There's a nice one. How about that one? Not seeing a heck of a lot of sebaceous glands though. Nice to see the root on that one though. Is that on 4 or is it 5? 4, and then 4B. Let's look at 4, right? So there's a nice hair follicle, right? There you go. Look kind of like the picture, right? Uh-huh. What do we got? So, the bulb, right, and the papillae of the hair follicle. What did I show you in lecture notes about that? You can probably look at the lecture notes and tell me what's what, right? The problem I have, I think, is that I didn't give you the same terminology in lecture that I'm giving you in lab, I believe. So if you look up the notes from lecture where we talked about the hair follicle structure and tell me what the terminology is there, we'll compare it to the terminology here. Dermal what? Papillae? Papillae hill? Dermal hill?
Dermal papillae and
The
then
dermal papillae and
germinative cells. That's all.
the what?
Germinative cells. Right?
Germinal cells? Or germinative cells?
Germinative. That one.
So,
Right?
dermal papillae is this part, right? That's the dermis that comes up into, that's this part that comes up into it, right? It's actually not this part, but it's this part that comes back into it, right? And then the germinal cells, this kind of weird part here around it, is the part that grows the hair, right? So on this one, it says the bulb and the papillae of the hair follicle. The bulb is not part of the hair. The hair follicle is this, the papillae, right? So it's slightly confusing terminology because papillae is in both of them in one way or another. But the bulb is the dermal part.
The germinative cells you said were in the papillae.
The bulb and the dermal papillae are the same thing. And then the germinal cells and the papillae of the hair follicle is another. And then it says blood vessel. Oh, okay, artery. That's easy enough to figure out. Now there are other slides for hair follicles. That's one example. It's not my favorite one, by the way. Let's look at a different one. This one, which is, in my opinion, is a better slide, is titled Scalp. See how this one looks better? I bet you can't see the hair follicle, right? There's the same thing we were looking at before, right? So let's look up here where you can see so there's the hair itself, right? And then this is that other thing we were talking about, right? Do I have erector pili muscles in there? You need to add that, erector pili muscles on. How do I spell it? Erector pili. ERRECTER. Is that right? Pili, PILI. So where's one of those? Anybody see one? It's made of smooth muscle, right? Anybody see one? Yes?
To the right of the middle sebaceous gland, is that it?
I can see 1, 2, You can see at least 2 of them. But the one that looks really nice is this one. Starts about here, goes all the way down there. And notice what it goes right beside, right? What did I say about those? They're the things that make your hair stand on end, right? And when they contract, what are they going to do? They're going to press against that, right? And you'll notice if you look closely at each one, every single one of them almost, you're going to see that erector pili muscle right beside the sebaceous glands, right? Not on everyone, but most of the time you will see them, right? They are very, very commonly there. Here's a nice one here. That's a big one. Look at that one. That's a nice size right there.
I don't know if you have our handout, but can you find it on our example pictures?
Hang on a second. Let me go to my last one. I saw another one. Look at that one. That one's huge.
Oh, that's wrong for.
Yeah, you can see the spacious gland right there.
Why are some of them bigger than others?
It depends on where you cut it, just like anything else. It's a tube, it's a bundle, right? If you cut it on the edge, you're not going to get very much of it. You cut right in the middle, you get the big part of it, right? On your pictures, I don't know if there's one on your picture. On this picture on 4B, I don't see one. I see a fruit fly. Is that it? Wow, that's huge. What's the next one? What's next week? What is it? Circulatory system? GI tract. Yeah, that's a big one. So you got the blood vessels, right? Plus all the GI tract. That's a lot of slides. That's gonna make this one look, I should have put the blood vessels in with this one. We could go over those now, except you don't have it out, do you? Well, be prepared for a fairly long lab next week. It'll take the whole stinking time.
On this one, do you want us to email it to you, or?
I said I'd get it set up, and of course 5 things popped up, but I will get it set up, so don't worry about it. I will get it on there today by the end of the day, no matter what. Okay?
Emails, a lot of emails.
Forget the master's ones.
I will put it on there.